morning, early game crew. Congratulations. You made it to Friday. And I'm telling you, hearing a side project from Wu-Tang Clan this early this morning, it's going to get us acting a certain way. It's going to get us acting a certain way.
Not the 36 Chambers. This was Return to the 36 Chambers by the ODB, Dirt McGirt. Oh, man.
Dirt McGirt.
Oh, man.
Hey, Dirty. Oh. We're having fun already. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. And if that's not enough to get you to have fun, maybe the additions to the South Carolina Gamecock baseball coaching staff. We all know about the Kevin Schnall thing by now. If you're just tuning in and you've been asleep for the last couple of days, hey, congratulations. South Carolina hired Coastal Carolina coach Kevin Schnall to lead the program.
Yeah, if you said wake me up when they find the coach, you have been awakened.
You've been kind of like nudged a little bit. Hey, wake up. Wake up. Kevin Schnall's hired. You're like, oh, okay, cool. And then we already talked yesterday a lot about the Coastal Carolina players that are coming with him, right? He's got his luggage. And as we have very well identified, it is Louie. Now he's brought the homies. He's basically brought the entire coaching staff. Yesterday it was official that Chad Oxendine, one of his main assistants at Coastal Carolina, also coming over, not just with Matt Williams, Chad Oxendine too. So there you have your associate head coach. Matt Williams is your pitching coach. And you may be thinking to yourself, we don't have a hitting coach. I need to pick that up. Aha! Well, that's where some really good news comes in, because Kevin Schnall was able to pry Bill Salento, someone who was at Wake Forest for 17 years, to come to Columbia, South Carolina and be the hitting coach. If you watch a lot of Major League Baseball like I do, you might notice that Nick Kurtz is having a remarkable year for the Sacramento/Las Vegas Athletics. All-star caliber season. Was really good last year. Well, that was where he developed, was Wake Forest. And they have had a lot of draftees in terms of hitters at Wake Forest. Now you think Wake Forest and you think, Rhett Lauder, Chase Burns, the
pitching
two guys.
lab and all that.
The pitching lab, yeah. The two guys that were taken in the top 5 in the draft to be pitchers in Major League Baseball. Coincidentally, both by my favorite team. And they're doing just fine. But they have developed a lot of hitters there too. And a lot of that is because of Bill Salento. And now Bill Salento is going to be the hitting coach here at South Carolina.
Yeah, this is a fascinating move. Anytime you get a coach to make a lateral move, if you're Wake Forest, you're like, hey, well, what was wrong with us? But also, we've gotten a coach to make a move from a job that he was solidly positioned in. He was successful. And I don't know whether this was something where Kevin and Bill have had, maybe they've had a previous relationship, and it's like, hey, man, if I ever get this, you're the first person I'm going to call if it's one of these types of situations. I don't know what it was, but that to me was a very interesting pick. And then the Chad Oxendine, that clearly, at least in my mind, was that he was up for the Coastal job. They hired Chris Lemonis. And then it's like, all right, well, I can't stay here.
Right.
So it's either if I get this job or I'm going with my homie Kevin.
For packing our bags.
Yeah, it's one of those two things, and that's fine. That's how that works. Because I wouldn't expect him to stay at Coastal when they hired another coach. And there's no hard feelings anywhere. I'm just gonna take my talents to Columbia.
Yeah, and coach in the SEC, you get to do all that. And I know a lot of Coastal fans, just kind of perusing online a little bit, noticed a lot of them whenever Kevin Schnall left to take the South Carolina job, people were lobbying for Chad Oxendine to be the next head coach, to kind of get that promotion, that elevation of being the head coach. So they thought awfully highly of him.
Right, because I believe, and I don't have his resume in front of me, but I believe his blood runs teal also.
Yes.
So he's and that's something that they seem to value at Coastal. But Coastal, much like South Carolina, much like maybe UNC in basketball, they're going outside the family here. And I think there comes a time in every program where you have to do that.
You have to go outside the family to extend the family.
You want to, exactly. You want to, or else, we don't want these lines crossing.
Habsburg
right?
jaw becoming a real thing in your baseball program. for your sports program.
Yeah, we don't want to do these things. The job is to branch out and make the genetic pool stronger, right? So you can't just stay there the whole time. So I understand the Coastal folks wanting somebody that identifies with the program. I can definitely feel that, but they made the hire Chris Lemonis, and that's where I think Chad Ostendown was like, cool, but I have to go take care of business in Columbia.
It didn't take them long to make that hire either.
It did not.
No, I mean, it seemed like there was a pretty good contingency plan in place for if Kevin Schnall left, which is what good athletic directors do. So shout out our man Chance Miller. Always a fan of Chance on here, and good for him too. I mean, look, you lose someone like Kevin Schnall, who highly successful in the 2 years he was your head coach, and you respond by getting a guy who won a College World Series this decade in Chris Lemonis at Mississippi State. Congratulations. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. It ran its course at Mississippi State, right? Like a lot of coaching tenures do. Sometimes, like, you know, you reach your peak and you kind of just plateau after that, right? It doesn't get to the same level. Sometimes you're just there for too long, right? Sometimes you just stay at the party after last call, and then there's nothing else after that. That happens. So I'm actually really excited for Coastal that even though, you know, you lost your head coach to the in-state, you know, school, you did get out of this pretty well. I think that's a very good consolation prize, is to be able to pull somebody like Chris Lemonis, who I think still has a little bit of that dog in him. A little bit. And that's also a very South Carolina baseball man. He is very South Carolina.
He is South Carolina baseball man. He's getting another passport stamped, but he's not the most South Carolina baseball man, because our boy Monty Lee has done it again.
My dog.
He has done it again.
I knew he'd be coaching somewhere in the state of South Carolina. I just knew it, because he's been hired to be an associate head coach at College of Charleston to coach under Chad Holbrook. And I did see a picture on Twitter yesterday of Chad Holbrook as the head coach at South Carolina shaking hands with Clemson head coach Monty Lee at home plate before one of the games at Founders. And I said, that is your CFC coaching staff right now.
Yeah, he did it. He did it again, and that seems like a very good, solid move for him. He gets to go back home, back to where he coached, back to where he played. But South Carolina man reigns supreme, and that is Monty Lee.
The ultimate stamping of the South Carolina baseball passport. Nobody has more stamps than Monty Lee does. Nobody.
That's correct.
But good for him. Like I knew he'd land on his feet somewhere here in the state. Mostly just because he's got so much experience and has had a lot of success too. Like, that's a pretty solid coaching staff. Hopefully CFC can turn it around.
Hopefully they'll get it together.
I think there's something that could be done there, and you know, the long and winding road. Not just a great Beatles song, but also something that got Monty Lee back to coaching.
Great
College
Beatles,
Charleston.
Great song.
Underrated Beatles song.
Great song. I didn't expect that. It's a great song.
That is an emotional song. That is one you listen to the car by yourself.
Yes, it is. It absolutely.
I'm not listening to that tune in front of the homies. No.
I must send you the Aretha version.
Oh, please do. Please do. Oh, sign me up. I'm ready to cry before 7 a.m. This is fantastic. But also, in terms of players, too, now more luggage has come in, right? It's like you're standing at baggage claim, and you're like, oh, is that your bag? Yeah. All right, ready to go? No, I got like 3 more bags coming. You what? How many bags did you pack for this trip?
All of them.
All of them. I packed all the bags because Luke Jones, right-handed pitcher, also commits to South Carolina from Coastal, a pitcher who played his high school ball at JL Mann. So there you go, another South Carolina high school baseball prospect. 15 starts last year, 4-2 record with a 4.44 ERA. He's a weekend dude, and was second on the team in strikeouts with 67. Striking out about 8 guys per 9 innings. Solid. You're almost, you're getting close to that 1 strikeout per inning benchmark. But my favorite part is he walked only 2.39 batters per 9 innings. He's not giving up a lot of free 90s, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah, that was something we had. Obviously, we struggled with a lot of things last year, but that was one of the bigger things that we struggled with as a pitching staff. Just giving up easy free 90s, as Monty taught us, and that's something that we don't want to be able to do.
And I have a feeling Luke Jones can be in this weekend rotation already. So if we're already projecting a roster for next year. Luke Jones, maybe a weekend guy, but a 1.28 walks, hits, per innings pitch. My favorite pitching stat, though. If I have to rank pitching stats, whip, number one. One of my favorites. And then that's just the luggage he brought from Coastal Carolina. But do I understand that we got our first non-Coastal Carolina transfer portal player?
Yes, this was for yesterday. Obviously, the good folks at Gamecock Central, Chris, reported this 9 hours ago. So this is still pretty fresh. And I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Evan Bottone.
Bottone? Yeah.
Bottone, B-O-T-T-O-N-E. I'm not sure how to get that, but like Joey Fatone, maybe? Anybody?
There were some very not so pleasant nicknames that came from Joey's last name from his days at NSYNC.
Anybody had an NSYNC reference at 6'11"? Not me. Evan Bottone. So Evan is from Ohio. He's a first-team All-Sun Belt selection, and he hit 381 last year, 23 extra base hits, 8 home runs, stole 11 bases, so he fits squarely into the Schnall ball ethos that we've been talking about. Had 41 RBIs and finished with a 1.047 OPS. And so here's something, and I don't know if this is strategy, but we were just talking about this. I wonder if Kevin is, obviously he's played all these players in the Sun Belt, and I wonder if he's going to these players that he's seen in the Sun Belt throughout his time there, and is like, hey, do you want to try this at the big show?
So, hey, you rocked my stuff when we played you.
I know you can ball. Do you want to go do it here at this place? I wonder if because that's not a bad strategy.
No, absolutely not. I mean, because you're going to know those players better than anybody else that's existing in the portal. I mean, those are the guys that you had to scout, especially since you're bringing essentially your whole coaching staff with you. You know, those are the guys that you scouted thoroughly, that you have seen on the field.
There's nobody you know better than the player on the other team that's giving you hell for several series in a row, right? You're like, I hate this dude so much that I would love to have him on my team.
This dude's hitting 381. Yeah, this guy can't do. He's doing nothing but getting on base every time we're playing against him. He's hitting a ton of doubles. He's doing all this stuff. He's stealing bases, hitting dingers. Yeah. Son, you want to come play in the SEC?
And that's the beauty of being in the SEC, because you walk in the door with that patch on your chest. Not even necessarily the South Carolina patch on your chest, because that'll build later, but just, do you want to come play in the SEC? I absolutely do.
That would be an awfully intriguing proposition for me. And who knows? I have not seen the latest on Will Craddock's transfer portal status. Maybe a player that you can talk into coming back who had a really good freshman year last year. Anderson product. T.L. Hanna, to be specifically, in terms of where he played high school ball. If you're able to get him to come back, just because you're in the transfer portal does not mean that you are permanently gone. You can always come back. Would be a pretty big addition right there, too. So, I mean, we're what? 48, 72 hours into this coaching tenure. And, of course, tonight at 8:30 at the ballpark at Founders is going to be kind of the introduction of Kevin Schnall to the fan base. It's very much a fan fest type event in which we get to celebrate Kevin Schnall becoming the new head coach and a new day of Gamecock baseball being introduced. And I don't know a ton of specifics, but I do know they're giving out free hot dogs, Preston Thorne.
I saw free concessions.
Easy sell. Come see the new baseball coach.
I'll be there.
Eat some hot dogs. Meet Jen Jensen. There's a Jen Jensen meet and greet.
Yeah, okay, that'll get a whole bunch of people.
Well, that made everybody sign up. I think there were cars turning U-turns right now. They're like, oh, we're going to go to the beach this weekend, but there's a Jen Jensen meet and greet.
No.
Absolutely not.
I think it's going to be a fun night.
Yeah, it absolutely. Jen Jensen, our correspondent, on the ground there. So on Monday, we'll get to hear from Jen about how exciting it is. But Jen's going to be there.
I think it'll be fun. And like I said, as soon as I heard hot dogs, I'm like, oh, there.
That's all Jen needed to hear. She's hot dogs and the word free. It means Jen Jensen is in. But it is the off season in football, Preston Thorne. And I do love lists, but we also love Phil Steele. It's almost Phil Steele time. Which players from the Gamecocks are recognized as All-Americans and All-SEC? We'll tell you next.
We love to hear your opinion. Go to @1075 The Game on Twitter X and participate in our polls. Our Twitter X polls sponsored by IntelliSystems. Schedule a cyber audit today at IntelliSystems.com. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet studio. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown dealer. Stop by today or shop online 24/7 at HerndonChevy.com.
Walked outside this morning. It felt muggy, and I felt like this was the first morning where summertime is here. I'm listening to Jen Jensen. I think the weather is going to be hot over the weekend. And if you haven't had your setup ready, the folks from AAA Heating and Air can help you because your home comfort is their top priority. You probably are running out of time if your air conditioner is not working because the summer is about to hit, and the folks from AAA Heating and Air can help you out. They can give you peace of mind. You can ask about the AAA Comfort Club, where members enjoy priority scheduling, flexible visits, and exclusive discounts on any future services. The expert technicians are ready to get your system in prime working condition because summer is here. So call AAA Heating and Air today at 803-920-3771. 803-920-3771.
When you get hurt in a bad wreck, you only get one shot to get it right. And too often, insurance companies have a plan to pay you as little as possible. But you don't have to put up with that. You deserve better when you're hurt. At the Jeffcoat firm, we fight back. Fast, hard, and smart. Call Jeffcoat all hours, every day. 803-200-2000. The longer you wait, the more the insurance company gets the advantage.
Responsible attorney Michael Jeffcoat, 1333 Main Street, Columbia.
DraftKings Sports is live in all 50 states. Yes, that means you, South Carolina. The whole world is watching one tournament right now. Group stage chaos, knockout drama, stoppage time heartbreak. The DraftKings Sports app is now live in South Carolina, so whether you're catching the early kickoff before work or the late match at the bar, you're in on every minute, every match, every moment, all in one app. Right here in South Carolina, the world's biggest stage is in the palm of your hand. New DraftKings customers sign up with the code 1075TheGame. Spend $5 to get $200 in total rewards. That's code 1075TheGame. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC-registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click-to-claim issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends June 28th. Terms dkng.co/predictions promo.
Hey folks, it's Mark and Alison here from the British Bulldog Pub in Harbison.
Columbia's favourite excuse not to cook tonight. You gotta come down and try our menu. Fabulous food.
Fish and chips, meat pies, pasties, sausage rolls, we got them all at the British Bulldog Pub.
Fabulous food, fabulous people and fabulous fun.
Come join us weekdays 4 to 7 for our fantastic happy hours.
Come hungry, leave happy and pretend you only came for one drink.
The British Bulldog Pub in Columbia, proper food, cold pints and good times served daily.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. It's the Game Network Traffic Report from the Schroeder's Towing Traffic Center. Broken down and need a tow or even free signage for your lot? Dial pound 250 and use keyword tow truck today.
No accidents to report. It's a good way to start your Friday morning for sure. And we're looking for a high today, potentially at 99. Might see an isolated thunderstorm. Some clouds tomorrow, 95 for the high. 97 on Sunday with some afternoon or evening thunderstorms possible as well. 74 to start off your morning. And yeah, Preston's right. A little bit muggy out there. 107.5 The Game.
The Early Game. With former Gamecock Preston Thorne, Elijah Campbell, and Jen Jensen. On the Game Network, 107.5 Game app, and the Game TV radio on YouTube.
It's almost time for Phil Steele's magazines to be hitting the shelves, and that's when your boy does a lot of the deep dive stuff. That's when, like, it's college football preview season. That's what it hits.
That's what makes it official?
It's just Phil organizes it for me. I have my own thoughts. I don't just rip off Phil, but Phil lays out the rosters and he gives you the breakdown so thoroughly.
Are we going to be able to get Phil on again this year? Because he was so good last year.
You know, I know somebody who might be able to make that happen.
We need to make that happen. We need to make that happen.
We know somebody.
That he was so good.
Yeah, he was.
Phil's awesome.
It was everything I wanted. I was like, oh my God.
Phil's the man. It's one of those things.
You
like,
are who I thought you were.
Denny Green Award. And hey, can we have you on for like the entire show? Can we just ask you questions for the entire show? You cool to hang out for 3 hours, Phil?
He was awesome.
He's the best. And before the magazines hit the shelves, usually, you find out who makes his, all SEC, all America team. And South Carolina has 4 dudes who have been recognized by Phil Steele as an All-American or an All-SEC player. Now, edge rusher Dylan Stewart and defensive back punt returner Vakari Swain, second-team All-Americans. And then, of course, they're first-team All-SEC. Nick Harbor made third-team All-SEC as a kick returner. Fred J.R. Johnson, which I think we established in their commercial break. We've never heard just Fred Johnson or J.R. Johnson. He's like Ed Too Tall Jones. You got to say the whole thing.
Right.
He is Fred J.R. Johnson.
And imagine J.R. is junior. I'm imagining. That's my assumption.
Yeah, that's always an assumption. But I'm not 100% sure.
Mm-hmm.
Never got a lot of explanation there. He's a man of few words. But he made the 4th team All-SEC. So with that right there, is there anything that surprises you, Preston Thorne?
Yes.
I think it is I think you're thinking what I'm thinking.
I don't know if is there an omission? Is this on purpose? But say those names one more time.
Dylan Stewart.
Yep.
Vakari Swain.
Uh-huh.
Those are all Americans. And then, of course, they're all SEC. Nick Harbor.
Correct.
All SEC. Fred J.R. Johnson. All SEC.
And you said there's 4.
Those are the only 4.
There's not a one more missing.
There's not a one more missing.
Yeah, so the obvious thing is that Lenoris is not on this list.
He's not there. But he's got 4 All-SEC teams, meaning Phil does not think Lenoris Sellers will be one of the 4 best quarterbacks in the SEC. If that projection holds true, I've got concerns.
I absolutely do also. I mean, the season hinges on Lenoris' ability to make plays and do all this. We understand that. So if that projects to be true, then we're having a lot of different conversations at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, none of these other things happen either. If Lenoris doesn't make one of these top 4 All-SEC teams, none of these Nick's not going to make any other team.
He needs Lenoris to get the ball.
Because he's contingent on Lenoris. And I would imagine that as well as these defensive players think they're playing, if the offense isn't going well, then the team's not going well. And these are supposed to be individual awards, but they're team awards. The better your team is, the more players get rewarded for that effort. And I'm cool with that. But if Lenoris is not one of the top 4 quarterbacks, it would be a long, winding road this season.
There will be tears also. There
Yes.
will be some tears. It'll lead you in a not-so-good place. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, if Lenoris does not have a season that would at least maybe get him consideration for a 4-team All-SEC, just by the end of the season, I think you could be in a little bit of trouble. One thing I'm really excited about, though, that I noticed, I was like, is he going to get this type of attention? Is Vakari Swain as defensive back and punt returner. The defensive back part's interesting because, like, we know we can return punts. I mean, I still remember being in Mercedes-Benz when he ran that punt back against Virginia Tech, and it changed the whole course of that game. And then I remember sitting through all of the storm delays and being at Willie B very late to watch the South Carolina State game, and the most fun I had in that building was watching Vakari Swain return 2 punts for touchdowns. We know what he can do when it comes to the return game. But if he's an all-American caliber player as a defensive back, with what depth I think you have on the defensive line, defense is going to be fun.
Also, yes, my first question was Nolan Norris. My second observation was, Vakari Swain. My third observation is Dylan Stewart's second team.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, second team All-American, not first. Maybe that should motivate him.
If Dylan, all right, let's sports talk. If Dylan Stewart is second team All-American next year, is that a failure or a success of a season for Dylan?
It would almost feel like a failure. Because I mean, that's what the ceiling is. We know what his ceiling is. And when you want him to reach his ceiling.
A healthy Dylan Stewart. And you have to throw in a healthy conversation.
He was not at the end of last year.
He was not at the end of last year, and he didn't practice this spring. He's supposed to be on track. All indications point that he will be healthy, but you do have to put an asterisk by that. So a healthy Dylan Stewart, I would say if a healthy Dylan Stewart being second team, was that second team All-American or All-SEC?
Second team All-American. And first team All-SEC.
Okay, cool. I'll take that.
You can take that?
I'm all right with that.
Because, I mean, I don't know how many edge rushers they include on the first team. But I think he's got, I think here's the thing. I think he has an ability, which is why I don't like calling it maybe a failure, be a little disappointing, but not a failure.
Yeah, I'm all right with that. Second team All-American, that means you balling. That means you are balling. But I was thinking if it was second team All-SEC, there should not be folks in the SEC that are better than him.
No. He should still, create terror in the minds of opposing offensive coordinators.
As a healthy.
Night. Yes. When he is healthy and he is at his best, the guy is an absolute terror on the edge of the defensive line. And if let's just say these teams have like 2 or 3 edge rushers that they put on the first team, right? I could see him maybe end up having the production of maybe being the 4th because teams are going to have so much attention towards him that maybe the sack numbers aren't there. The pass rush win rate stuff might be there and all of that, but voters a lot of times don't maybe look at the extra stuff there or the context required to understand how good somebody is. They're just looking at the counting stats. And that's the thing with Dylan Stewart that I like to stress is that the counting stats maybe don't necessarily tell the story of his impact on defense, because he is such a threat to get to the quarterback every time that you do have to chip block. You do have to get in, max protect. You've got to be able to, throw a running back in there and throw a lot of bodies his way because you're so scared of that guy getting to your quarterback. And if that happens, maybe he only has like a year like he did where it's a 4 or 5 sack year. But if he's creating more pressures and doing a lot of the extra stuff that maybe doesn't show up on a college football reference page, then his impact is of one that is a first-team All-American. Even if the counting stats doesn't necessarily make him a first-team All-American. But coming up next, windows. They're not just championship windows. We have kickoff time windows. Which ones are we excited for? Well, we'll let you know next.
It's Jen for CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. We had to redo our entire kitchen thanks to a flood. Wasn't really something we had planned on, but the folks at CHW Cabinetry took incredible care of us, helped us figure everything out, kept me calm, and we're really thrilled with the way it turned out from start to finish. Everything about the process was great, but they do more than just kitchens. I mean, you can update maybe a pantry, get some drawers put in there. That is incredibly helpful. You may want to just kind of update maybe a closet. Maybe you're looking for a home office workspace. Maybe you want to build an outdoor kitchen. They can help you with all those things at CHW Cabinetry. They're locally owned. They're a women-owned business. I encourage you to check out their website, chwcabinetry.com, or call them 803-520-6837. And, of course, be sure to tell them Jen Jensen sent you. CHW Cabinetry in Lexington. Passion from inspiration to installation. Broad River Road at Young Drive. Do have a report of an accident there. Also, Georgia Street at Whitney Street. We do have a report there as well. And your forecast, well, it's going to be kind of hot. Heat advisory in effect for today. Looking for a high of potentially 99 with a heat index of 106. Could see a pop-up isolated thunderstorm. Tomorrow, some clouds, 95 for the high, 97 on Sunday. Again, with a chance for some afternoon or evening thunderstorms rolling in. This morning, starting off at 74 at 107.5 The Game.
What's better than a championship window, Preston Thorne?
I don't know.
A kickoff window.
This is a new phenomenon.
This is a new phenomenon.
This is a new thing. I'm still having to wrap my brain around kickoff windows and when does this happen and getting. At least we now know that you can plan your life accordingly for the next 18 weeks or whatever the case may be.
Somewhat.
Kind of, because it's not a time, it's a window.
Which I honestly, I said referring to this as better than a championship window with a little tongue in cheek there, because why can't you just tell us the specific time? Why is this a mystery?
All right, so
this is so dumb.
For those that don't know, what are the windows? What is a window as far as game times, and what are the options?
All right, so we have early, afternoon, and night, and then there's also flex, right? So the early window is noon to 1 p.m. Eastern for the start. It could start at noon on the dot. It could be 12:45. It could be 12:30. It could be 12:17 if they really wanted it to.
Okay.
But it's going to start somewhere in between noon and 1 Eastern. That's the early window.
And which games do we have in that window?
So in that window, we have October 10th at Florida, which I plan on going to. Wish that one was under the lights. Would have been sick, but I guess we'll live with an early window there. And that appears to be the only one.
Okay.
The only one. And then afternoon window is anywhere from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. It could start at 3:30. It could start at 4:30. It could start at 3:52 if they want to get really specific.
Which is always a possibility.
Always a possibility.
With TV schedules? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. We're scheduled to kick off at 3:30, but the first game before us on television is running a little late.
Mm-hmm.
Can we delay the start of kickoff for a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
For that window, the afternoon window, the Tennessee game on October 24th here at Willie B, and the Texas A&M game, also afternoon window. Now, I did read from David Cloninger Twitter feed that the October 24th game at Tennessee is the Saturday of the fair. Plan accordingly, and that is an afternoon window game. So one that will start from somewhere between 3:30 and 4:30. A fair game in the afternoon. That's going to be tough. You're going to have to get there early. Prepare to be stuck in traffic late. I remember in 2023, my first year here, covering the Florida game that year. I think I left the stadium about an hour and a half after the game. And I don't think I got home until like 1 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
It was late.
Mm-hmm.
It was a nightmare. There's a lot of folks out in that part of town. And then we have the night window, which is 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern start. Our longest window of time.
That's a big window.
That it's also some BS. Like, I mean, there's a difference between starting a game at 6 and starting it at 8, brother. There's a big difference between starting the two. So this is not really narrowing it down by any means. And the only game that is definitively a nighttime window will be September 26th at Alabama. Mm-hmm. Again, it could start at 6. It could start at 8. It could start at 7:27.
So what does flex mean?
Flex, outside of moving your arms up and making your muscles get really big, flex means games we flex between the afternoon and night windows. So flex just means this is the window to end all windows, Preston Thorne. That could start at 3:30. It could also start at 8. So anywhere between 3:30 and 8, that can be where this game starts. Really narrows it down. All it does is tell you it's not going to be.
Yeah, that's a door.
That's like, what's the biggest window you've ever seen in your life?
That's like one of those windows at the restaurants where like a garage open.
Oh, they open it up, yeah. Whenever it's
indoor
nice
outdoor
outside.
space, yeah, that's not. So from 3:30 to 8 is anywhere in the flex, and just looking, it seems like we have several of those.
We have 3 at Oklahoma on Halloween is going to be one. At Arkansas on November 14th, and the Georgia game on November 21st.
I think it's more of the SEC is flexing that it can mess with our schedule. That's really what flex means.
Or that they just know we're going to eat all the information out of the palm of their hands, no matter what it is, because you're just so starved for extra football stuff. They know what they're doing.
Here's another morsel.
Yeah,
Oh, here's your Georgia game, the precious Georgia game that you're excited to get back. I'll tell you when it starts, but I want to give you a 5-hour window for when it does. I won't be specific, but I'll just tell you it's in the afternoon.
That's what the flex is all about.
The flex thing is the most annoying part. And they're doing it for, clearly, flexibility, so they can move it, accordingly, depending on how good the teams are. And that's why you're seeing maybe a lot of the flex games. There's also a flex game, the Kentucky game on October 3rd, also a flex game. That is, I think, the SEC's way of saying, we don't know how good you're going to be yet, and we want to maximize viewership, so we're going to see how good you are by October 3rd, you and Kentucky, to see whether or not we want to put you guys on prime time on the SEC network, or if we want to make this a JP Sports special and have it kick off earlier.
Well, the most important flex ones, as is stated, is Kentucky and Georgia, because flex could mean night game, and we want as many night games at Willie B as possible.
A Georgia night game would be pretty sick.
That'd be cool.
That would be sick. I'd be cheering for the later end of it.
That'd be really cool. So those are the ones that I'm keyed in on, because you want to have night games at Willie B, and it looks like we have one.
Towson's going to be at 7 p.m. We already know that one. I guess with Mississippi State kicking off at 4:15, that one's going to be under lights by the second half.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
Same. Kicking off at night.
Transitioning to night, that's great at the Rose Bowl, but we want to start at night at Willie B.
Starting at night is always pretty hype. So we might have it Kentucky game at home. You may, I guess. Well, no, Tennessee will be at the latest 4:30 because it is an afternoon. You may get it for just Georgia, Kentucky, and Towson.
3 possibles. We got one and 2 possibles.
Yeah, which makes sense. I could live with that.
We're playing cards, playing spades. We got 1 and 2 possibles. That's all we got.
I could do Georgia at night, though. I think that would be fun. I'm just excited for that game to be back in general.
Yes.
I like doing this exercise because I like looking at a South Carolina football schedule that has Florida, Georgia, and Tennessee on it.
Feels comforting, right?
The nostalgia in me is living a little bit. We've gone 2 years without it, and I feel like we're back to a little bit of normalcy as much as we can. It's not seeing Vanderbilt on here is still a little weird. Still strange to me. So we're not completely reliving the SEC East, but we've got most of the old SEC East. And you know what I'm not upset by? Playing Missouri. I just don't care about Missouri.
Correct.
Fake SEC school.
Don't want to do that. Yeah.
Fake.
Give me the real SEC school.
Yes. Fake SEC school. A&M, Missouri, Texas, Oklahoma. You all are Big 12 schools in my heart. Still, you just got very special invites to get to play the SEC every year.
I have to break the fourth wall a little bit. I just received a text from my better half. She's like, yeah. When's homecoming?
Great question.
Those are important things to know.
Most importantly.
Absolutely.
I don't care about any of that other stuff.
I don't know. I hate to regret to inform her. I don't know. Not yet, at least. I'm sure I will look at the schedule and see if it pops up, and we'll give you that on the other side. We'll also give you an update on the World Cup, a World Cup date, if you will.
Like it.
Brought to you by our friends at the British Bulldog, because it kicked off yesterday. So we'll give you that next as we round out the first hour here in the early game. It's time for a World Cup update, a World Cup date, if you will. A 2026 World Cup update sponsored by the British Bulldog Pub, 1120 Bower Parkway in Columbia. World Cup Central for the Midlands. Big fan of the fish and chips over there. If you've ever never been, it's delicious. I love the British Bulldog. And it's a perfect place to watch all these World Cup games. They started yesterday with Mexico and South Africa. And the headline here is that Mexico wins 2-0. Fun game. Mexico scored early. They scored in the Quinones scores in the 9th minute. And then there's a goal in the 67th minute. So they won pretty comfortably. They dominated the game. It is a pretty easy game. 3 red cards given in that game, Preston Thorne.
Feisty.
We started the game with 22 players on the pitch, if you will. We ended the game with 19. It got really feisty. And I think that's a record for red cards in a game. And it was the first game that we got for the entire event.
Now, excuse my ignorance. Red cards, are those treated like targeting calls? For instance, he's not going to be available for either first half or a whole game?
That would be correct. If you get an immediate red, that is bye-bye for one game.
Can't do that the first game of the...
Can't do it.
You can't do that.
And South Africa had 2 of those 3. And they're already behind the 8 ball because they're already not likely to make it through to the
you've been trading for this your whole life, and you can't do that.
Especially, I think the first one was in the 49th minute of the game, so you barely made it. You made it one half before you end up getting yourself in trouble and getting sent off.
Oh, man. That's a tough break.
But,
hey, Grandpa, what did you do when I got kicked out?
I got kicked out of the game.
I didn't play the next game when we were out of here at pool play.
It's like getting that flagrant 2. It's straight, get out of here. Straight red, get out of here, and don't play in the next game too. But thankfully for both Mexico and South Africa, they can just make a sub. If it happens in a game, then you're playing a man down, or in South Africa's case, 2 men down. You do get to play with a full 11.
Right, okay.
Start the next game. And then in the second game, South Korea and Czechia. Czechia gets on the board first. The artist formerly known as the Czech Republic. They get on the board first in the 59th minute, and then 2 South Korean goals. After that leads South Korea to a win, so that means South Korea and Mexico in Group A have 3 points apiece. 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, and you get 0 points if you lose. And the goal differential does matter. So technically speaking, because of goal differential, Mexico is leading Group A. Today is where we will get the United States' first game. They play Paraguay. Now, their group is obviously the United States, Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey. Australia and Turkey, much better than Paraguay. Paraguay will be the easiest game in the group stage. You got to win today. 9 p.m. over at SoFi in Rams and Charger land.
I'm sorry. I've been out of here for like the last minute and a half of you talking because, hey, Czech Republic, what's happening here? We're doing both names? What's going on?
See, I always just assumed it was Czech Republic, and now I'm seeing it for the World Cup where they're going by Czechia, and I'm like, okay, well, that's new to me. I'll call you whatever you want.
For sure. If that's
you
what
can call me whatever you want, just don't call me late at night.
Right, but you have made it firmly established that you are Elijah and not Eli.
That's right.
And so I do not want to refer to the Czech Republic if they're going by Czechia now, but I just don't know when this changed. So I'm having to update my systems here.
Did you learn why it changed or when it changed? Because I would like to know.
It just says they kind of go by both of them so far.
Oh, no, come on.
I will be doing more reporting, but if you were a little confused like I was, Czechia is the Czech Republic, not even former Czech Republic. It's still the Czech Republic.
Still the Czech Republic?
Yeah, all right. I'm sorry. I'm back. You just lost me with that. I was like, what?
I'm glad I'm corrected on that because I assumed it was just they just don't go by that anymore.
And that, as we all know, the world changes. Things happen on maps. Other places, you're like, oh, wait, it's South Sudan now? It's like, okay, something's happening.
Is there a North Sudan?
Yeah, something's going on over here. So, from my understanding, Czechia is the Czech Republic.
And they're interchangeable terms.
I think so.
See, my geopolitical knowledge is not always frequently updating. I feel like I'm pretty up to date on a lot of this stuff.
If there's anybody out there listening who has more knowledge of this, please text it or call.
I will accept any type of assistance there for that one, but I just assume they just ditched the name and they are going by something else.
Right. I'm sorry. Continue.
Wow. So not only did they lose, I guess, my understanding of what they're called, they did lose to South Korea, too.
Correct.
Multiple L's for Czechia.
So you check that off the list.
Yeah, absolutely check that off the list. And if they keep losing games, they can check themselves out of the World Cup. They're a little bit behind the 8 ball right now. But United States and Paraguay tonight, 9 p.m. That's going to be on Fox, Telemundo, and Peacock. And at 3 o'clock today, Canada and Bosnia are going to be playing.
Czechia is the official short geographic name, while the Czech Republic is the official formal political name.
Just
like Mr. It's like Mr.
How formal do I want to be here when I
like
refer
Charles
to them?
versus Chuck?
Okay, see, that makes more sense.
I'm Chuck from Czech.
Chuck from Czech.
Hour number 2 coming up next. Playoffs. What did the Canes do last night? We'll tell you.
Press here for our good folks at Integrated Media. What a great time to have your outdoor setup ready. You could be watching all of the World Cup matchups from the Czech or the Czech Republic, and you could be watching either one of them or both of them on your outdoor screen. And the folks from Integrated Media can help you with all of that. What does the outdoor setup look like? Well, it might be Sonos outdoor speakers. It might be Wi-Fi that works indoor and outdoor, so you can have all your devices playing at the same time, not having to worry about lag time, buffering, or any of that mess while you're trying to stream all of the matches that are happening right now. So from home theater setup to adjusting your thermostat, monitoring your security systems from your cell phone, Integrated Media is who you need to call. So call Nathan and Michael at 803-948-8327. That's 803-948-8327. Or reach them online at integratedmediainc.com.
Still 2 accidents in progress that they're working on. Broad River Road at Young Drive, also Georgia Street at Whitney Street. And today, heat index, heat advisory in effect because high today could be about 99, heat index around 106. We'll have a mix of clouds and sun. Do have a chance for maybe some pop-up thunderstorm activity. Not guaranteed, just a possibility. Some clouds and 95 tomorrow, maybe some afternoon thunderstorms on Sunday. 97 for the high. Right now, 74.
Hour number 2 of the early game starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. And also joining us in the club is Jim Mora.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
I'm getting a little sad, man. This is winding down.
We don't have many more of these left.
I know Jim's not sad because he's been working for a long time now, but
he's ready to go to bed.
But it's starting to wind it down, man.
Not much Jim Mora left. I mean, we're one more Carolina Hurricanes win and one more New York Knicks win away from it being over.
Okay.
Makes me really sad.
I know who Jim's rooting for.
He's ready for closure. He's ready to get this done. He's rooting not to have to hear Zaza Pachulia inaudibly yell in a mic to tell us it's Game 7. And that is nothing easy. It hadn't been easy for the Carolina Hurricanes, but they did make it look easy last night in the second period when they scored 2 goals to give themselves a 2-goal lead and be able to make the third period of the game a little less stressful. But in Raleigh last night, Hurricanes 4, Golden Knights 2. And after losing in heartbreaking fashion in Las Vegas in Game 3, they're able to win back-to-back games and now have the advantage here in this series. Shout out Andrei Svechnikov, 2 goals last night, both power play goals. And Brandon Bussey, who a 92% save percentage, 23 saves last night, after pulling Freddie Anderson, who has been the goalie for them all season long, and actually in the Eastern Conference playoffs leading up to this, was playing particularly well. Rod Brindamore, a.k.a. Rod the Bod, who was a player on the team the last time they won the Stanley Cup 20 years ago, was a captain on that team, made the decision to pull Freddie and play Brandon Bussey, and now it's paying dividends. It's amazing how the goalie change, even though I could not tell you much about Brandon Bussey at all, what I can tell you is he has been thrown into action and has played incredibly well.
So because the Hurricanes are not one of the original 8 or whatever the case is, and they're not necessarily a storied franchise, I don't think the idea of a 20-year drought is getting played up enough.
No.
But that is a significant period of time. If you are a Canes fan, if you've been in this 20 years, also when you put together the story that they've been recently successful but couldn't really get over the hump, I think this is a really fun story, especially if you've been locked in on Canes hockey for this whole time.
Because they've been a perennial playoff team for a while.
There is a level of suffering here that could be relieved with one more victory.
This is, like, it's not, like, I'm trying to think of a good NFL equivalent. It's not like it's like the Browns, right, where you've just been, or the Jets, where you've just been horrific for a long time. You've not even gotten anywhere close to achieving this.
Maybe the Vikings?
This is kind of, the Vikings may be a little more extreme. I'm trying to think of someone whoever won a random Super Bowl. Was there a random Super Bowl winner, like the Buccaneers?
Okay.
Before Brady won it with them.
That's a solid one.
Assume Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski never went to Tampa. They never won that Super Bowl. This would be like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming back.
Tom Brady did win the Super Bowl with that happened.
First home team to win a Super Bowl.
Whoa.
Or winning it at their home stadium during COVID. So not a full stadium.
That happened.
Tom Brady is not only a winner of many a Super Bowl, he also is the first one to win it in a half-filled-up stadium.
Wow. Okay, I forgot. I just kind of forgot that happened. But, yeah, 20 years between victories for a team that has been knocking on the door, at least I know for at least the last couple of years. That is a really potentially fun story if they get it done.
So here is the Carolina Hurricanes every year since the 2018-2019 season. Lost in the conference finals, lost in the first round, lost second round, lost second round, lost conference finals, lost second round, lost conference finals. So they've been in the playoffs every year since the spring of 2019.
And I would say second round, that makes a run. That consists of they made a run.
There's only one time they've been one and done in the playoffs, and that was in the 1920 season. And, of course, in the 1920 season, you had to
2020 season, not the 1920 season.
Oh, yeah. 2019-2020 season. The 1920. The Carolina Hurricanes have not been playing hockey since 1919. No. Or the 1920. They have not been. That was the COVID disruption year. So then they had to go into the bubble, and they had the NHL probably got the weirdest out of all the leagues. They probably had the weirdest setup for that. But they end up losing in the first round there, so I can put a little asterisk there. But every other year, they're at least winning a series. And the last couple of years, where they've either gone to the conference finals or lost in the second round, they were bad at home. So for them to be able to, in front of their home crowd last night, be able to win that game and go up 3-2 in the Stanley Cup final is an exciting proposition. However, though, even though Carter Hart did become the first goalie in NHL history to give up at least 4 goals in 5 Stanley Cup finals games, I can definitely see a scenario in which Vegas pushes this thing to a Game 7 in Raleigh. And we get to hear from our pal, Zaza Pachulia.
It's always fun to win it at home, which leads me to my NBA conversation. Do the Knicks clinch this thing in San Antonio, or not on purpose, or do they bring it back, or does it come back to New York?
I think they win it in San Antonio.
So you think that's too devastating? That's too far to come on. They cannot emotionally recover from that loss.
That's a lot to recover from. Even if you're a veteran team, this is a team mostly comprised of 20, 21, 22-year-olds. And then the oldest player in your team is the one who makes the biggest boneheaded mistake of the team. At least the guy who's in the rotation. Harrison Barnes isn't playing a lot. Harrison Barnes is a little longer in the tooth than everybody else on the roster. But he doesn't really play.
I would put Harrison Barnes on the same squad as the Malik Bridges, Mr. Generic squad. It's just, Harrison Barnes just looks like...
He's just there, yeah.
Just a guy.
I am here. I can give you 8 minutes of action.
It's the way he tucks his jersey in. It's so tucked in.
He's got great posture, and I think he has really good posture.
That might be it. It's just, this dude is just the most plainest looking dude you see in the league. Him and Malik Bridges. But, so you're saying it's over?
It's a wrap. Yeah, I mean, look, I was 21 years old once. I never played in NBA Finals, but I know if I did and I blew a 29-point lead and it was historic, it ended up becoming, you being on the wrong end of what is going to be one of the more iconic games in the history of the sport. We will be talking about that game forever in the NBA. That's going down in the lore with Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals. That's going in the lore with the Ray Allen game in Game 6 of the 2013 NBA Finals.
I mean, I close my eyes and I can still see the Jordan push off against the Jazz, right? Because it's obviously it's Jordan and that, but that happened. Him hanging up, or even during the John Paxson 3 that ends those are things that I remember, and I would imagine for a generation of sports fans, this is going to be a game that they will see running in the highlight reels of their minds forever.
Forever. It absolutely will. And it's hard. It's so hard to recover from that. And then you're going back to your hotel, and then people are throwing eggs at you.
I saw that. That's not cool, but
I mean,
it's very low on the hooligan scale, I would say.
Yes, very high on the accuracy scale, though. I mean, he hit Victor Wembanyama. Whoever threw that egg hit Victor Wembanyama square in the back of the noggin.
Here's the thing: in a kinder, more innocent time, that's great, right? And if we was in a more gentler, funnier time, it's cool. Hit him with an egg, that's kind of funny. But we can't play those games now.
We can't, no.
We can't play those games
We're
now.
a little too far gone from that being cute and funny.
Yeah. Okay, but if I'm Mitch Johnson, I hate to be the guy to be like, hey, man, we're this close to this thing being, very much the opposite.
Logically, you can look at this and say, you've led for like 80% of the series. You've had a lead. Somebody made a really funny joke. It was like a picture of Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David that were standing next to each other courtside, and someone has quotation marks out of Jerry's mouth says, "See, you're able to take the lead, but you never hold the lead, and that's the problem." Kind of like, you know how to take a reservation, you don't know how to hold the reservation.
The thing about leads.
What's up with that? The Spurs had a 29-point lead. What's up with that? They blew it.
So you're saying there's nothing Mitch Johnson can tell these young fellas to get their minds right?
If Mitch Johnson can get them mentally locked in to be able to take care of business in Game 5, let's just say they're even able to get motivated enough to take a lead, and he's able to call a timeout late in the first half and say, hey, guys, 10-point lead. This means nothing. It's 0-0. And he gets them to play that way for the rest of the game, and they're able to win despite doing what they've done every single game this series. If he's able to convince those dudes to do that after the mental anguish of just peeing away a 30-point lead, essentially, in the game prior, that man needs to be a motivational speaker across high schools in America, because he will get this country's youth to do great things despite all other obstacles. You are a leader of young men, Mitch Johnson, if you are able to do that, because I don't know if I could. Again, being 21 once, if that happened to me, buddy, I am very, very well likely to walk into San Antonio and get beat by 40 to have this thing get closed out, because the minute something bad happens, the here we go again will be strong in me.
Yeah.
But if he's able to do that, then that'll say more about Mitch Johnson than anything else. Even though Mitch Johnson did not have a good night.
He didn't either.
No, he did not. Which he's supposed to be the adult in the room.
So yeah, who's gonna save him? He's trying to save them, but who's gonna save him? I mean,
Greg Popovich.
Pop, this is Pop. We need you. I need you to summon the strength, and we need you.
And Pop's already had several come to Jesus moments with them on airplanes, reportedly. I mean, after Game 2, when they were getting ready to have the flight to New York, reportedly he, before the flight took off, addressed everybody on the plane. And
I just imagine
gave him a chew.
Everybody's sitting down on the plane. Everybody's ready to go. Oh, yeah, one more thing. And then you see Pop walking in there. Everybody's like, oh,
God, okay.
Everybody has to sit up
Harrison
straight.
Barnes' posture gets straighter. I didn't think it could be.
That's the last person you want to hear from in these circumstances.
But the message is pretty simple, though. It's like, you guys have had the lead, a double-digit lead in every single game. We have played 4 games in this. They have all come down to the last minute of action. You could have very well swept these guys. All you got to do is just seal the deal in the final minutes of these games. If you don't, throw the ball to the back of Stephon Castle's jersey in Game 2. If you just dribble the clock out once you make a great defensive stop in the last 10 seconds, you guys, you're up. You're the ones up 3-1 if that's the case. And I know we can do the ifs and thans or pots and pans, the world would be a kitchen sort of thing. But as a coach, you kind of have to tell them, say, hey, look, you've been in control in a lot of the games in the series. You've just lost control.
So you got to put all the cliches, one snap and one possession at a time, one bucket at a time.
Hey, at the end of every quarter, it's 0-0. Hey, good. We won this quarter. You still got to win the next 3. It's 0-0. You have a lead at halftime. It's 0-0.
Okay. What about the emotional hangover for the Knicks? Is that a possibility? Or are they too mature?
I think at this point they might be. I think they've convinced me they're too mature, because they have a team full of winners. The Villanova guys have won multiple titles.
They were losing by 29.
You can't kill them. They're like cockroaches. You cannot kill those guys.
Yeah.
And it's not the first time it's happened to them, too.
Yeah.
They did it in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, where they were down 22 in the fourth quarter and came back and won. They were down 2-1 in the series to the Atlanta Hawks, hilariously enough. The only team that beat them multiple times in a playoff series in this run was the Atlanta Hawks. They might hang a banner for that. Hang it next to some of the St. Louis Hawk championships. That is how impressive that one is. But coming up next, though, there's some action in Omaha, Nebraska. The College World Series starts today. The 3 of us will draft College World Series teams, kind of like we did with the College Football Playoff. So we'll have a little fun competition for the early game morning meeting next.
Pressing in for our friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. If your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. If it's a cracked windshield, no problem. They'll come out to your location and they'll replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with your insurance to take away the headache. They'll come out to wherever you are. School, homework, it does not matter. Absolute Glass will come out to you and take care of the job for you. Now, if you're at home, looking to increase the value of your home, Absolute Glass can take care of that for you too. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. You say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
I-77 southbound there at Killian Road. We do have a report of an accident there. And Windsor Lake Boulevard at Martindale Road. And that it's going to be hot today. Let's just face it. Heat index is in place, or heated, I guess a heat advisory, I should say. Mix of clouds and sun today, a high of 99. Could get up to about 106. Maybe a pop-up thunderstorm could happen. Tomorrow, 95 for the high. 74 right now.
The College World Series starts today. And, of course, we have to insert ourselves into this business, even if South Carolina is not involved in this business. So for the early game morning meeting, we will be drafting teams with a point system. Now, we'll talk through the point system. But before we talk through the point system, I think it's time to get this morning meeting started the only way we know how.
Good morning. Good morning. Repeat after me. Today will be an awesome day.
It'll be an awesome weekend, too.
Let's go. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day. Good morning, great today. Today will be an awesome day.
And it will because I love drafting stuff. I love doing drafts.
Lists?
I
Drafts?
love drafts. Not just beers either. Favorite part of the fantasy football season is the draft. The draft is the most fun part.
I mean, when you think about it, the draft just is a list. It just turns into a list.
It does. It turns into a bigger, more expanded list. Now, I'm thinking, do we do 2 points for a win minus 1 point for your team's losses?
Sounds good.
Okay, so I'm gonna write that down here.
Mm-hmm.
So so the teams will draft. If they win a game, that is 2 points. If they lose a game, you subtract a point. So we'll jot that down right there. And now we have our parameters. And so here's how it's going to work. Because there's 8 teams, there's only 3 of us. So if we draft 2 teams, that means we will have at least 2 teams that are in the College World Series that will not be represented.
I think that's fine.
Unfortunately, I have a sneaky suspicion Troy might be one of those teams.
Who will
not be selected. They might be undrafted. Uh-oh. Preston Thorne may have a trick up his sleeve. So now here's how the order is going to work. Jen's going to go first because she did win the college football playoff draft. So we did that this past December, and we got to draft 4 teams. Math worked out perfectly to where everybody got, 4 different teams. So Jen, by picking Indiana, ended up winning the college football playoff. You finished second, I believe. And then I finished last, so I will pick last. So I'll have the loop around pick. But Jen is going to have pick number 1, and she is on the phone right now. So I am playing stall ball, not schnall ball. I'm stall balling here. But now that Jen's ready, Jen, you are on the clock for your first pick in the College World Series draft. Now, for a refresher, we have Troy in West Virginia. They play the first game today at 2 o'clock. Ole Miss in North Carolina. And then in the other bracket, it is all SEC, so Oklahoma and Alabama, and then Texas and Georgia. My favorite thing about this, too, is that usually there might be a team that's considered the favorite. Now, if you're doing betting odds, North Carolina and Georgia are the betting favorites, but it's pretty well clustered after that until you get to Troy. They're like a plus 3,500 to win this thing.
Give me Texas.
Ooh, Jen with the first pick takes Texas. So Texas off the board. Now to you, Preston.
Well, Jen, we're going head-to-head. I want to feed the trees. Give me the Bulldogs.
Oh. Preston goes Georgia. That's a great pick. I will take North Carolina.
Yeah, good call on that one, I think.
Hard to go wrong with any of those 3. I think we all feel pretty good about our first round pick. So with my second pick, see, now this is where it gets tough because we took the 3 betting favorites off the board.
Oh, okay.
Do I take Alabama? Do I take West Virginia? I don't want to take Alabama in anything.
No.
But I do like winning. I'm gonna do it. I'll take Alabama. And they also, their best player, a guy who's going to be a top or a first round pick in the MLB draft, whose last name is LeBron. So I guess that's one way I can justify it in my head.
Fair enough.
Now back to Preston.
Let's do it. Give me Troy.
Okay.
I was incorrect. Troy will go off the board. They will get.
We're gonna ride this heater.
Look at you.
And that leaves us to Jen. Jen has West Virginia, Ole Miss, and Oklahoma. at her disposal.
Give me the Mountaineers.
And Jen goes
Another
West
head-to-head
Virginia.
matchup.
I love it.
Nice.
So we have a Jen versus Preston matchup to start today's action.
Let's go.
At 2 o'clock. That one is going to be on, all these games are going to be on ESPN. Ole Miss, an undrafted team here, will take on North Carolina, who I selected. And then I'm not facing up against either of you.
Okay.
At least for the first day.
Not for the first day.
Because then Alabama, who I took with my second pick, will face off against Oklahoma tomorrow at 3 o'clock. And then we have a Jen versus Preston matchup. Jen taking Texas, Preston taking Georgia.
Feed the trees.
Buddy, it was pure gluttony this past weekend with Georgia and Mississippi State. They hit bombs. They're so much fun to watch.
I'm excited to see, well, obviously there's the whole bottom half of the SEC bracket, but this idea that there are five SEC teams in Omaha is, one, a compliment to the SEC.
Very much so.
Two, maybe a warning shot to Kevin Schnall. Hey, this league's serious. I know you know that, but look at the results right here.
You can build a really good team, and it can still. Well, also, if there's any team that can act as inspiration here for South Carolina, I think it's Oklahoma. Because Oklahoma didn't have like this out-of-this-world regular season. Like Alabama won 42 games. Texas won 45, and they were a perennial top 10 team, all season long. Georgia won 51 games. Oklahoma was at 38-22. They were just an average SEC team. They were an average SEC team that was able to make a run. Like even Ole Miss won 40 games. And Ole Miss didn't host a regional, but Oklahoma was able to get hot in Atlanta and dethrone Georgia Tech, who at the beginning of this tournament I might have picked to win the whole thing, right? So they were able to win that game or win that regional and then be able to just absolutely beat the life out of Kansas on the road to be able to get here. Got hot at the right time. They're incredibly battle-tested. You could be in the SEC, lose 22 games, but still be able to be good enough to make a run. I think that is something like, 38-22, something that's very sustainable for South Carolina next season.
Absolutely.
And that can still get you into the College World Series if you're just playing your best ball at the right time.
And especially when you have players and coaches who have gone through this before, recently.
Uh-huh.
I think that's very important.
Not to be understated there is that you're going to have a core of players who, not their first rodeo.
I'm already ready for the season.
I am too.
I can't tell you how fired up I am about this baseball situation.
And if you are too, then at 8:30 tonight, you can go to Founders Park for kind of the Fan Fest event, the welcoming of Kevin Schnall, and there's a Jen Jensen meet and greet. That
unofficial.
Is unofficial, but it's $100.
Yeah, that part is, yes. It's free otherwise.
It's free otherwise, but the Jen Jensen meet and greet is going to cost you something, right? We are running a business here.
Right.
We're trying to make money.
The business of trying to make money, exactly.
And we're going to sit at $100, and that's still going to be a line out the building.
That's right.
Okay.
And we're going to be like, oh, that's just the Jen Jensen meet and greet line, the Kevin Schnall introduction line.
Kevin who?
Yeah. I'm here to meet Jen Jensen. Get a free hot dog. Jen, can you autograph my hot dog? Sure.
Okay. Yeah, with mustard. Oh, that's
I can see it now.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm seeing nothing but dollar signs. The main attraction there at Founders Park tonight. But I think we're all excited about this baseball team. And I think Oklahoma, what Oklahoma's doing, I'm not saying South Carolina will do next year because Omaha in year one is a tall task. But 38-22 with a team that you're already pulling in.
It's fun to dream, though.
Mm-hmm.
You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not.
I'm not the only one.
That's right. Not the only one. If you've ever seen Dinner for Schmucks, great line in that movie. But coming up next, though, it is the summer of the biggin. And according to one writer from The Athletic, it's the thing he's impressed about most in this offseason. Do we agree? Well, we'll discuss that next year in the early game.
Well, we have good news. Earlier accidents have been cleared, so we welcome that. And mix of clouds and sun. Today we are under a heat advisory, or will be. It's going to be 99 today. Heat index potentially up to about 106. There is a slight chance for a pop-up storm today. Clouds tomorrow, 95 is the high we're looking for. And then a mix of clouds and sun for your Sunday. In the later afternoon, could see a thunderstorm pop up that day as well. A high of 97. Currently sitting at about 74 on 107.5 The Game.
Before we continue the summer of the biggin, it's a big summer for South Carolina and that offensive line. We'll go to the AAA Heating and Air phone lines, 803-404-6100. Diane is on the line with us this morning. Good morning, Diane. Welcome to the early game.
Hey, I've been with y'all since 97 and when y'all were Bubba. I'm an old fan. I am so thankful for the streaming app. That is why I'm sharing it with all my friends. I'm calling in about 4 things. The Aces, Asia and them. Look on there and vote the all-star team and get the Aces on more. The Fever, Aaliyah Boston was awesome last night with Clark. Okay, I'll get to my favorite one in a minute. I'm picking Georgia in the baseball, but have you noticed how they make all the SEC teams eat each other up first before we get to the finals?
Great point.
The USA in the World Cup, and I am so disgusted as an old PE teacher and coach with this transfer portal. They have got to do something to straighten up our athletics. I even like hockey now. And the Hurricanes are going to Vegas. I hope they win it. Man, it is unreal. Stahl, our captain, is awesome. But Bussy the goalie, my gosh, the guy has stepped in, and I love Freddie. He's great. But let me tell you, these are Viking killers. We are going to win. And I really appreciate y'all letting me talk. And I want you to know I shared your app with everybody on my Facebook because so many people love hockey now. And I had players as well as fans going to call in. But for 2 days, we've been doing baseball, Coach, which is important, and the transfers. But anyway, I want to say go Cox, but I want to say go Hurricanes. Have a great day, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, Diane. Thank you for calling in and spreading the word.
Absolutely.
About our app and all the different ways you can find us, our YouTube page, all the different ways that you can listen to us. I love that, shouting out Aaliyah Boston because she was awesome last night. 34 points, 12 rebounds, kind of a big deal, and 3 assists. She is awesome. Really, an incredible pro. But I love the Hurricanes fever. I've always been curious, around here, how many people care about the Hurricanes because, Raleigh's a little bit of a haul. You know, it's not a skip, hop, and a jump. It's not pogo stick distance from here to Raleigh. But I do appreciate the Canes fever because I'm a huge fan of the sport of hockey. And the Canes are really close to doing something special. They're 1 win away. Just talked about Brandon Bussey last night, too. Guys stepped up. Freddie Anderson not playing his best. Brandon Bussey stepping in as a backup goalie is a game away from winning his team a Stanley Cup title.
Fun.
It's really cool. Really cool. So thank you, Diane. Appreciate the call. For this summer, though, it's the summer of the biggin because I think that is, without a doubt, hands down, the most important what if on this football team, right? We're going to be living with a lot of ifs every offseason because if this happens, then this team's going to go 8-4 or 10-2, whatever it is. There's ifs in every single team, but I think we can all agree that we cannot have a discussion on projecting the 2026 South Carolina Gamecock football team without first starting on the offensive line. And Antonio Morales at The Athletic did his, he went through every Power 4 conference team, 68 of them, and he gave his favorite offseason move. And South Carolina's had a lot of offseason moves. They addressed the transfer portal pretty heavily to be able to get new players in. They had to fill a lot of coaching vacancies, including one at offensive coordinator. But what Antonio Morales picked for South Carolina was bolstering the offensive line. So here's how it reads. It says Shane Beamer retooled his offensive staff, hiring Kendall Briles as his coordinator, and kept quarterback Lenora Sellers from leaving. None of it will matter, though, if the Gamecocks don't get better play from the offensive line, which gave up 43 sacks.
43.
Last season. 43. South Carolina signed 6 offensive linemen who started at their previous schools, including tackle Jacarius Peak from NC State and guard Emmanuel Poku from ECU. I think that may be the easiest one that Antonio had for all of the other 68 schools in the power conferences in terms of picking favorite moves, because if those guys don't perform, if you don't get the Emmanuel Poku that you signed up to get, or the Jacarius Peak you signed up to get, or if you just don't get that offensive line to mesh, then it can derail the season. Because I still fully believe, if we're still diagnosing the 2025 season, the reason number one that it was so off the rails was because of your inability to master the fundamental of blocking.
43 sacks. I think that is a
they
number.
Played 12 games.
Yeah, when you do the math on that, that's not going to lead towards a successful season. That's why I always put the asterisk by last year for any conversation we have about Lenoris. That's why I continuously do that. But when you look at that number and you say that they bolstered their OL, I think it's also important to note that, yes, we know that they brought in a new offensive line coach, but the players, because I think they had the bad combination last year of a coach who was worthy of being dismissed from his post, but also I think there were some misevaluations as far as the players were concerned. And so you had these two forces working against each other last year, which led to a stat like 43 sacks. And that's a problem. Now, here's a question I do have, because he said that South Carolina bolstered their OL, while he said that Kentucky overhauled their OL. Which one is more severe?
I would rather be overhauled than bolstered.
Okay, I just was wondering. I was like, because Kentucky overhauled the O-line, and it does make a really distinct difference here, saying that Kentucky's players that they got through the portal came from majority P4 programs. We didn't have all of our guys from P4 programs. Not that that necessarily matters, but
might not.
I think that was the distinction that he was making.
Yeah, South Carolina and Kentucky, both. Same boat when it comes to the biggest work they had to do was figure out what you're doing on the line of scrimmage. Another reason why I actually think Kentucky's going to be a lot better than people think. Chris Lowe had about 15. I'm like, they're going to be better than 15.
There's a lot to say for both fan bases who will be able to see a competent offense be placed on the field, both South Carolina and Kentucky. Shout out to those Kentucky fans who've had to watch the Mark Stoops slop for the past decade.
Stoop slop,
yeah. Just run the ball whenever.
Halfback dive.
They actually going to see a competent offense. I don't know if it'll be competent, but it'll be fun. There'll be formations. There'll be things happening.
There'll be bells and whistles.
Yeah, there'll be things happening, and I think we can say very similar based on what we experienced last year.
Getting some cream cheese on that bagel, which would be really nice because Kentucky has watched.
They've been eating plain bagels
for more than a decade.
Straight
now.
plain bagel, no flavor, no toast, no topping.
Just straight out of the bag. Not even cutting it in half, just eating it straight out of the bag.
Linder's bagel, here you go.
And Mark Stoops says, here's your plain bagel that I'm not going to cut open for you, and I'm not going to put anything on it, and you're going to like it. They've been tortured over there. Before we get out of here, too, I do want to mention that 12:30 today, because the biggest story this week has been the hire of Kevin Schnall. 12:30 today on the halftime show, Jeremiah Donati, athletic director, South Carolina, will be on with Scott Hamilton. So you're not going to want to miss that. That's going to be a really good interview there. Scott is a good dude. Excited to see what he talks about with Jeremiah Donati and what we get from Jeremiah about the process of being able to land Kevin Schnall and make him the head coach at South Carolina. But coming up next, if you want to win a family 4-pack of tickets to tonight's Columbia Fireflies game, call in 803-446-100. Participate in our quiz because it's the early game end-of-week quiz coming up next. It's time for our early game end of week quiz. We're going to find out how well you've been listening to the show this week. We're going to start off with our pal Josh. Josh, good morning. Welcome to the early game. Do you feel prepared?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. That's what I like to hear. Now, your question. If you get this right, you get a family 4-pack of tickets to tonight's Columbia Fireflies game. The question is, this week, Preston had a serious nostalgia kick because of someone who performed at halftime of Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Was it A, the Wu-Tang Clan, B, Clan Campbell, or C, Clash of Clans?
The Wu-Tang Clan.
Ding, 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 ding. Bonus points if you can tell us your favorite Wu-Tang Clan member. There's nothing extra you can get, but he doesn't have one. It's too hard of a call.
Too many to pick from.
There,
9 of them.
There's 9 of them. It's a squad.
Sorry, I lost you.
Oh, say bonus points if you can name your favorite Wu-Tang Clan member.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Okay.
See, too hard to choose from.
That's right. That was a solid answer too. You could just say I'm not sure.
Say I'm not sure.
And then
There's too many.
You could just back out the conversation. That's a good job.
Congratulations, Josh. You win tickets to tonight's Fireflies game. 4 of them, to be exact. Jen's going to take your information, and we'll send that over. Make sure that gets to you as soon as possible. My favorite part of that, though, is that's the most I've ever seen Preston Thorne's eyes light up doing a segment, and it was the most eager he has been to change something in the show play. And he said, "Oh, we got to isolate this."
I had to call the ISO. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. I need it. Yeah, I had to do that. That was as I said, I have been training my whole life for that one singular moment. That was the excellent moment in time. Yeah, a lot of stuff happened this week. We had the Knicks come back from 29 points down. That did happen. We had the hiring of a baseball coach. A lot of really interesting things, because here's the thing. People talk about, in June it's kind of supposed to get slow in sports talk, and that has not been the case for us around here.
It's been fun.
It's been a lot of fun.
Also been a really fun week to be a Knick, because the New York Knicks pulled off a historic comeback in the NBA Finals, and our pal Nick Harvey's been here for a couple days.
Shout out to Nick. Shout out to Nick.
Winners, Knicks, with a K and with an N. Early winners. We do other winners at the end of the show, but early winners for that right there. I am a little bummed that we have to wait one more extra day for an NBA Finals game.
You wanted it to be tonight?
I kind of wanted it to be tonight. Would have been nice. We have no Stanley Cup final or NBA final. But we do get, we have the World Cup. Team USA is playing, and we have the College World Series. And I didn't pick Troy in my College World Series draft, but that's certainly a team I want to see make a Cinderella run.
Yeah, I'll be locked in, man. A great sports weekend. As you said, all these different things are happening, variants of sports, whatever you want to pick, you ever want to choose, and all sports of high stakes.
Yeah, that's what you want. And you know what? I was thinking about this the other day, too, in terms of watching the World Cup, because I did watch, Mexico and South Africa yesterday. And I thought, man, this is our first summer World Cup in 8 years. Because we had to play it in winter the last time because the country of Qatar is not habitable in the summer. I was like, man, that's a long time that would go going without a summer World Cup. And it made me a little sad, Preston Thorne, that I had to wait this long, because that's one of my favorite things. My favorite summers are the ones that have either the Olympics or the World Cup.
Because my favorite part about being a spectator is that I know just not enough for it to be fun. I'm just here for the vibes.
I don't have to analyze anything.
I don't know anything. I'm just here for the vibes. And so it's a lot of fun just to turn a game on, a match, and just watch. And just see what happens.
Like yesterday, I reclined a little bit, was watching Mexico, South Africa, got to watch, a good portion of it through the back of my eyelids. Great napping sport, too, I'm telling you. There's Masters Sunday, but you don't want to sleep near the end. You need to catch that nap when, the leading group is on the front 9. And then wake up to catch the rest of it. Great napping event. Soccer games, great napping sport. And yesterday was awesome. But we have so much that this weekend, including at 9 o'clock, USA in Paraguay. That is if you missed our earlier World Cup date, sponsored by the British Bulldog Pub, 1120 Bower Parkway in Columbia. World Cup Central for the Midlands will actually be there on the 19th, so a week from today, because USA is playing Australia. We'll be doing an event there at the British Bulldog, so make sure you come out and see us and hang out with us. And if you're just watching any World Cup game, that's the best place to do it. They have soccer apparel all over the place. It's really neat. I think they're the Liverpool bar.
Are they?
Yeah. Not a Liverpool guy, though.
I think we're both Spurs guys.
We are.
Reluctantly, I believe.
Because they stink.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was an Harry Kane guy, and he's not there anymore. And so, I mean, I kind of like, all right, thought that was going to be my dude.
Those are the vibes. I picked him. I picked them to be my favorite soccer team when I was like 18, only because they're named after a Shakespearean character. I was like, that's the most British thing you can be. Sign me up. And they used to wear the collars on the jerseys. I thought that was pretty slick, pretty stylish. 2 hours down, 1 to go. Coming up next, though, Kevin Schnall was on Gamecocks Plus. The full interview is available, but we'll give you the best of Kevin Schnall on Gamecocks Plus. Why did he take this job? Well, we'll hear from Kevin next. There's too much fun to be had this summer to be overwhelmed by something like tax issues, whether personal income tax issues or business tax issues. If you're beefing with the IRS and you're caught in that maze, well, I've got a solution for you. I got somebody that you can put in your corner that you can trust to get you out of it. And that is my pal John Ecton and his team at the Ecton Law Firm. 803-771-9800. That is the number to call to set up that free consultation with John and his team at the Ecton Law Firm, where they fully understand the challenges that you or your business may be facing right now when it comes to getting out of that IRS maze. And they've been doing this for a long time in the state of South Carolina, and they have proven local solutions to be able to get you one step closer to a worry-free life, something that we are all looking for and something that you could use this summer. 803-771-9800, or you can always visit them at ectonlawfirm.com. That's ECTONlawfirm.com.
Augusta Highway at Laurel Road, an accident there. Also, Bush River Road at Legion Plaza Road. Also, a report of a tie-up Church Street at Highway 1. Aside from that, no other accidents to report. That certainly is enough. Hope everybody gets to where they're looking to go this morning safely. And we are looking for a high today of 99. Heat index potentially 106. So there is a heat advisory that's going to be going into effect. And might see a pop-up storm today. And tomorrow, clouds 95 for the high. Clouds and sun on Sunday, maybe an afternoon storm, 97 for the high. Right now, 74.
The early game third and long hour starts right now. I'm Elijah Campbell. He's Preston Thorne. She's Jen Jensen. Romaine Thomas is in the video production room here at Studio 803, making the YouTube stream look nice, making me look a little prettier than I normally am, which is easier said than done. But the big news this week, Kevin Schnall hired as South Carolina's baseball coach. They got him from Coastal Carolina. Jeremiah Donati and Kevin Schnall saw each other on the Coach Poach app, and it was love at first swipe. And now he's here. He's got the event tonight at 8:30. So you can go to Founders Park, hear from Coach Schnall for the first time, go to the Jen Jensen meet and greet. It'll only cost you $100, but everything else, accessible and free, except for the meet and greet. But this is not the first time that Kevin Schnall has addressed Gamecock Nation. He was on Gamecocks Plus, and I highly recommend watching the full thing on Gamecocks Plus. We have just a couple of snippets here, but number one, though, the first thing I think anybody would want to know or hear from Kevin Schnall, outside of just what his vision is for the South Carolina baseball program, I think the first question that you might have for him is, why take the South Carolina job to begin with?
Well, you're right. I've been in the state of South Carolina for 25 years, and I've seen firsthand the power of the University of South Carolina, firsthand the power of the University of South Carolina baseball, and the opportunity to be a part of this program is something that I quietly imagined for a long time, and this is an opportunity I can assure you that we're not going to take for granted.
Quietly admired it for a long time. A secret admirer, if you will.
Yeah, because you want to compete at the highest level. And I think the idea of seeing you know what you're doing at Coastal, but you always feel like there's maybe another level that I can get to, whether it's resources or recruiting battles that you might have lost out on. Think about this. There's a big difference, and it's just what it is, man. It's big bank take little bank. It's just what it is. You walk out to a field, the travel ball field, wearing the Coastal logo. We respect it. It's awesome. But you walk out onto that travel ball field wearing the Gamecock logo. It's a different conversation that you're starting at a different point. And I wonder if sometimes coaches that are on, I don't wonder. I know coaches at lower levels, in your mind, it's just like, man, what could I do if I had that? That is always the thought process. And so when he says that he quietly thought about that, that's probably what he means.
And he's been in South Carolina, the state of South Carolina, for a while. He was at Coastal for a long time as a player, as an assistant coach, and as the head coach at Coastal Carolina. And throughout that time, too, South Carolina was still going to College World Series, winning them. Now they're in the drought that they're in right now. But when they were going back-to-back and then playing for another national championship, I'm sure he was coaching in the state, being on that staff thinking, God, they've got it going on right now. Like, he knows what it's all about. I think if you were looking to make a hire of somebody who just truly gets how much that program meant at its height, I think just by listening to it right there, I mean, I'm sure as he's saying that, he's thinking, having these, flashbacks of Whit Merrifield hitting a game-winning single to win the College World Series in the last game at Rosenblatt Stadium. or going back to back or going through all these players. He's probably doing the guys naming dudes thing in his head right now, but the spirit didn't overcome him to say it verbally, right? I think that was a big part of taking this job. Is the guy knows what it's about, and if you're looking for someone who gets it, he certainly gets it.
And to me, that's why there's not a year zero. To me, that's why fans can have reasonable expectations coming into this year, because we skip the whole introduction process. He doesn't need a Sherpa to show him the South Carolina back roads. He knows the difference between Socastee and Myrtle Beach. He knows a lot of information about the state that maybe if you were bringing in somebody from the outside, you would have had to work to build in. So we're skipping a lot of the processes that would have been like the onboarding for a new employee. He's already here. He knows a lot of these things.
Yeah, the onboarding, always the worst part. He doesn't have to do that. Yeah,
he's got all that.
Yeah, he's got it all in already. But one thing you mentioned too is for somebody like Kevin Schnall, there was probably an element of always wanting to see what you can do at the highest level of the sport. And the SEC is a bear, right? I mean, you got 5 of the 8 teams in the College World Series. You've won, the conference has won the national championship like what, the last 6 years? It's something like that. I mean, they're on a hell of a streak in terms of winning national titles. It's the best baseball conference in America, and I don't think it's particularly close. The SEC does have a monopoly on most of the college baseball talent. The ACC is really good, but they don't have the same success in Omaha that the SEC's had in the last decade. It, in terms of baseball, does exactly what its slogan is, which is mean more. But what does it mean to Kevin Schnall to be able to coach in the SEC? Here's his thoughts on his news conference.
Well, I'm fortunate to say that I've had the opportunity to be in Omaha 2 times, and both times to get to Omaha, we had to go on the road and beat an SEC opponent. The SEC is the major leagues of college baseball, and again, the opportunity to compete at the highest level is something that every competitor is looking to do. And again, this is an opportunity of a lifetime, and to be able to compete in the major leagues of college baseball, the ticket to the draft, the pathway to the major leagues, to coach against the best coaches in the country and to compete against the best teams in the country is something that we're eagerly anticipating.
I love the subtle flex of, hey, been to Omaha twice. En route to it, we had to beat SEC teams on the road. Mm-hmm. Just a nice subtle flex of the resume right there. But I think when you're a coach in that situation, even coaching at a place like Coastal Carolina, great baseball program, but still, you're not going to see those type of road environments the same way you will on a weekend-to-weekend basis in the Southeastern Conference. He gets a little taste of it getting to do it at a super regional, but the idea of getting to do that the entire season, for somebody who's a competitor at the highest level, has to feel like that is one of the more intriguing parts of this job.
That's all you ever want, is to test yourself against what somebody else says is the best. That's the level of competition that you want, and if you don't take that opportunity, you're always left wondering, could I have done it? Could I have competed at that level? And it's not disrespectful or disparaging to the place where you are, but you're always just going to be thinking, man, what if I would have been able to play or coach against the other people that they say are the top coaches? Because I think I'm a top coach.
Right. Yeah.
And I want to be able to prove that.
And that's why I love that he took the challenge, right? I would have never have faulted him if he decided, hey, Coastal's my home. I've been here for multiple decades. This is where I played. This is where I got my start coaching. This is my first head coaching job. He clearly loved that place. But so if he ever decided to stay, like, that was something I would have never blamed him or faulted him for, and I wouldn't have thought that was any indictment on South Carolina's baseball program. Like, there's a real sentimental value there. But what gets you out of that is the idea that you can compete at this level, that you look at a place like South Carolina playing in the SEC where the conference has dominated the sport, and you're immediately thinking, I can do that. Like, that's the opportunity that I want to be able to be a part of that on a game-by-game basis.
That's why I have and this is a little bit of a bird walk, but that's why I have a very high level of professional respect for Kalen DeBoer, because he took on the challenge that many people were saying, I don't know if you need to follow up the legend, or is that a big enough job? Maybe you need to wait to be the guy after the guy. No. I think I'm a great coach, and I'm going to try and go prove it. That's what competitors do. We can't be coaching players to be competitors, and then when we get in our professional lives, like, I want to go into the safety and security of, nah, man, that's not what competitors do. And so I applaud Kevin and the rest of the crew for wanting to take the next step and accepting the challenge. It's going to be a challenge. Probably was a lot more comfortable at Coastal, but that's not what people are in this for. Not those types of competitors.
No, not the upper echelon of competitors. Like, this is a challenge that you want. And I am excited that he is embracing it the way that he is. And lastly here, too, for Kevin Schnall and the South Carolina baseball program, we're in the fun part right now, which is the introduction, the pomp and circumstance, the hype behind everything. That's the most fun part of the coaching hire. Soon it's going to be time to get down to business. He's already doing it in terms of bringing in some of his players from Coastal Carolina. Very well documented that his luggage is Louis here, right? They have been playing in Omaha, playing at a high level, and he brought in another transfer from Marshall yesterday. But what are the next steps for Coach Schnall and this South Carolina baseball program?
Well, number one is the staff, right? We have to assemble an elite coaching staff, a staff that would rival any coaching staff in the entire country, and we're very fortunate. We have an athletic administration that is going to back, obviously, our baseball program at the extreme highest level, so that's going to allow us to assemble a coaching staff that would rival any staff in the country. So we're in that process right now, and then 1A is player acquisition, right? We got to retain the right players, and then we have to acquire the right players that obviously have the right skill set, but they got to have the right energy. They got to have the right makeup. We have to have the right people. So that's what we're hitting the ground running with right now, and that's the number one focus.
And he's already doing that pretty well. Like, if that's objective number one, he's already bringing over Matt Williams, who was his pitching coach at Coastal Carolina. D1 Baseball's Assistant Coach of the Year in 2025, one of the more respected pitching coaches in America. So that's a check. He brings over a lot of the support staff with him, so he's already got that taken care of. Chad Oxendine, he's bringing over from Coastal too as an associate head coach. So you have another person that you trust that's going to be in the building, and another person that was good enough at what he did at Coastal that a lot of Coastal Carolina fans really lobbied for him to be the next head coach at Coastal Carolina. So Chad Oxendine's coming. And then you're able to poach 17-year hitting coach at Wake Forest, Bill Salento, which I think is maybe one of the more underrated moves of this entire equation here, right? When you're overhauling roster and staff, getting a guy who was at Wake Forest for that long, who helped oversee their rise to baseball prominence, that developed some great talent. Guys like Nick Kurtz, who is one of the best players for the artist formerly known as the Oakland Athletics. Guy's going to be an MLB All-Star, I believe, this year for the A's. Developed at Wake Forest. They've developed a lot of MLB drafted talent at Wake Forest, and to bring him in as a hitting coach and to get him out of Winston-Salem after he's been there for almost 2 decades, before you even get into the player part, he's already, you think, nailed the coaching staff.
Well, that's a whole part of recruiting, because I'm not going to leave a place that I've been in for 17 years, been successful, been named in the running for several head coaching jobs, if I don't believe in that dude. So when that dude makes the call, I have to believe him, because I'm sure he's gotten other calls.
Oh, for sure. With the success they've had at Wake Forest,
of course. But I believe in that guy. And he calls me, and we get together, we get to talking, and I'm going to leave this 17-year position to go work with that dude. That probably does say a lot.
It certainly does. And that's before we even get into the player part of things, too, right? Bringing in, guys like Walker Mitchell and the arms that they've been able to bring in, the main contributors from that 2025 team that went to the College World Series final. You're getting a lot of those pieces. And then we found out yesterday, too, Evan Batone, I think that's how you say it, no relation to Joey Fatone.
I've only read it, so I think it's Batone.
B-O-T-T-O-N-E. From Marshall, first-team All-Sun Belt guy, a center fielder with an OPS of over 1,000, automatically have my attention. If you have an OPS over 1,000 and you're playing a league like the Sun Belt, which is a really good baseball league, again, that league got 5 teams in the NCAA tournament, you can hit the ball pretty well. 8 home runs, 41 runs batted in, even stole 11 bases. And Preston Thorne, he had a batting average of .381. Flirting with a .400 hitting season while also hitting for good slugging and drawing a lot of walks. You're looking at somebody like Evan Batone as maybe as one of the better players on this lineup that's already starting to shape up pretty well.
What I need to do is go see the statistics Evan had against Coastal. My hunch is that he tore them up.
Is that they got lit up?
And it's like, if I could get that dude, I wish he could be on my team. And when you get the opportunity, the first thing you do is you're like, hey, man, you were so good against us. I have another opportunity. Are you interested? And obviously, Evan, for the same reasons of being a competitor, wants to go see if he can test himself at the highest level of baseball.
Yeah, and I'm certainly excited to see what he can do. And during the break, I want to look up and see just exactly what he did against Coastal Carolina this year and see if I can see the connection or maybe why Kevin Schnall wanted to bring him in. But coming up next, though, we have windows. No, they're not championship windows, and they're not the regular windows you're looking through. We have kickoff time windows. What does that mean for the football schedule, and how do we feel about them? Well, we'll discuss that next here in the early game. Tell you all the time about my friends over at Pro Swing and how fun of an indoor golf experience it is. Whether it's the Chapin location or the Forest Acres location, Pro Swing is the absolute must-do for any golf lover, especially to be able to escape the ridiculous heat that we're about to start experiencing around here. What better way to do it than in an air-conditioned environment where you have over 300-plus courses that you could play with those Golf Zone simulators. And here they have an opportunity for you to be able to win money because the 2026 Operator Open is about to be in full swing, right? The Trollbrook Golf Course countrywide competition gives you a chance to win cash prizes pool of $6,500 with a first place prize of $1,950. It's tournament style scoring, 18 holes, and here's the best part. There's no additional entry fee. Just book a bay and play. Play as many times as you'd like to improve your score. Hit them up at proswingcolumbia.com.
Bush River Road at Legion Plaza Road. We do have a report of an accident there. Still working Church Street at Highway 1 and Summit Ridge Drive near Bombing Range Road. Also an accident. And the forecast, it's just going to be hot. There's just not much else to say about that. It's going to be warm today. Heat advisory will be issued. High of 99 today. Potentially a heat index of about 106. Clouds and sun. Chance for a pop-up storm at some point today. Tomorrow, clouds 95, 97 on Sunday. Late afternoon thunderstorm is a possibility. 76 right now.
We get into the windows, the kickoff windows for South Carolina. We did the research team, the crack staff here at the early game. We got to the bottom as to why Kevin Schnall was interested in Evan Batone.
It was pretty evident, and I was correct.
Your suspicions, Preston Thorne, have been confirmed because in a weekend series in late March, Coastal did travel to Huntington, West Virginia to play Marshall. And Evan Batone went 2 for 4 in game 1, 1 for 4 in game 2, but then 3 for 5 in game 3, a game that did go to extra innings. And he was 3 for 5 with 2 RBI and a run in that game. The weekend series, Evan Batone went 6 for 13, hitting leadoff for the Thundering Herd.
Yeah, as an opposing coach, you tend to remember dudes like that. So I don't know whether it may not have been prearranged, but as soon as you seen that name in the portal, you're like, let's give it a go.
Oh, yeah, we're giving him a call. He's probably sitting in that office. You know, there's still plastic wrap on all the furniture and ever. You know, he's still got, you know, there's still unpacked boxes in the corner of the room. And he said, guys, yeah, we're bringing a lot of our friends from Coastal here, a lot of our former players. We'd love to have our guys here. Do you remember that guy we just could not get out at Marshall? All weekend long, we could not get that guy out.
We're just going to this Batone, that dude.
He does have eligibility. Give him a call right now.
Yeah.
And I can imagine that's something how that conversation might have gone. But we do have windows. We don't have specific times for all the games. We only have specific times for the first 3 games. Now, September 5th against Kent State. That kickoff's going to be at 12:45 on the SEC Network. September 12th against Towson. That's going to be a 7 p.m. kickoff on SEC Network plus. And then on September 19th, Mississippi State is going to be a 4:15 kickoff on the SEC Network. But we don't have specific times for the other games. But we've broken them up. I say we. I had no part of this, right? But the SEC has broken up these into certain windows. You have the early window, which is a kickoff that can be anywhere from noon to 1 p.m. You also have an afternoon window, which is anywhere from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. And then a nighttime window, which is anywhere from 6 to 8 p.m. And then there's flex games. Flex games means that the game could be anywhere from 3:30 to 8. Depending. It could be either the afternoon or night windows. That's the SEC's way of saying, we'll figure out how good you are and how important that game is going to be in the grand scheme of the college football playoff picture. We'll decide when that one's played later. We're going to give ourselves a little flexibility there. So here's how it's all going to go. September 26th at Alabama. It's going to be a night window. So expect that to start anywhere from 6 to 8 p.m. The Kentucky game is going to be a flex. That is on October 3rd. So as of now, that game could start at 3:30. It could start at 8. I don't know. October 10th in the Swamp. That will be an early window game from noon to 1 p.m. over at Florida. October 24th, the fair game this year against Tennessee. Afternoon. Maybe not the greatest draw for the fair game. Last year we got lucky with it being Oklahoma at noon. A little more manageable. But I remember 2023, my first experience at the fair football game.
Welcome to Columbia.
Madhouse. A lot of folks. Small area. October 31st, Halloween night at Oklahoma. It is a flex, so it could be anywhere from 3:30. It could kick off at 8. November 7th against Texas A&M. Afternoon window. So again, 3:30 to 4:30. And then we get at Arkansas on November 14th. That is a flex, so it could be any time in the afternoon. November 21st, home game against Georgia, the home finale, for the Gamecocks. That is a flex game, so that could be anywhere from a 3:30 kickoff to an 8 p.m. kickoff, and then the game at Clemson is still TBD to end the regular season.
All I'm saying is we've done very well at noon against Clemson, so
fingers crossed that it's noon.
That's all I'm saying. Shane Beamer has done very well at noon against Clemson. That's all. I want to make sure we say that. The flex games and at the end of the season are really based upon what's going on with the teams at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If two teams are playing very well, you're more likely to be a later game, to be in a more primetime spot. If you're not performing as well, you'll probably be bumped up a little bit earlier, correct?
I would say that is very possible. Got so excited, I obstructed the wind coming out of my sails there. But like Georgia, say Georgia is what we expect Georgia to be, but say South Carolina's having a really good season. Say they're on a roll like they were in 2024, that sucker will be on prime time. I feel pretty good about that. But it's all going to be dependent on just how teams are. I think flex is the message the SEC is sending, saying, hey, we'll wait to schedule that game specifically once we know exactly how good you are. And if we want to put you on prime time, or if we want to hide you on another network, right? We want to hide you on the SEC network instead of being on ABC. Because I could definitely see that South Carolina-Georgia game. If Carolina's having a season that we hope they're going to have, I know Georgia's going to be really good. I've got no problem almost penciling them into the SEC championship game seemingly every year. That could be an ABC game.
On the flip side of that, we're not the only part of this equation, because you just said if Georgia is who we think they will be, that might be at night. If Arkansas is who we think they will be, that might be a daytime game.
What, buns?
Regardless.
Yeah, straight buns.
Yeah, that's late in the season too. We'll see.
Already hypothesizing that I'll have Arkansas pretty squarely put into the 16th spot for SEC Media Days. I don't know if I'm pessimistic about any other team.
I mean, you're very down on the coach hire.
Very underwhelmed with Ryan Silverfield. Felt lazy.
Silverfield.
It was, oh, wow, they beat us at Memphis when we were 2-10. This guy's got to be a really good coach.
The rarest of situations where we both think Memphis upgraded when they lost their coach to the SEC.
100%.
We think they upgraded multiple ways. As a head coach, they got our guy as a coordinator.
Man. I had my eyes on Kevin Decker.
Memphis might be the early games G5 team, right?
I think we've already crowned them. Danny Green says if you want to crown them, well, then crown them. And that's what we're going to do. Memphis is the early games stamped G5 team. Big Charles Huff fan. I think that guy's a fantastic coach. Very nomadic. I think this will be school 3 in 3 years for Charles Huff. U-Haul All-American, the coach of the U-Haul All-American team.
A whole nother discussion, but he's a nomad because he just keeps winning.
Because he's good.
He's not as if he's running from these places. He's not leaving in the middle of the night. The teams are really sad when he leaves. I think there's a little bit of a distinction, but the rare case where a team loses their coach, a G5 team loses their coach to the big leagues, I guess, but secretly upgraded.
They did.
Yeah.
They absolutely did. Charles Huff's a winner. We'll get our winners later on in the show, but coming up next, it's the early game third and long hour. This week, we've been talking about the drought killers in sports. Part 5 today, the elation. Is the heartbreak worth it for that one moment of elation once the streak is finally broken? We'll answer that question coming up next here in the early game.
Summit Ridge Drive near Bombing Range Road. Do still have an accident in progress there. Also, Dutch Fork Road at Dreer Shoals Road. Church Street at Main and Bush River Road at Legion Plaza Road. There's an accident there. So do be careful out there this morning if you would. And be careful all day today. Hydration is the key. We are looking for a high today of about 99. Heat index could potentially be 106, so a heat advisory has been issued. Clouds and sun today, chance for pop-up thunderstorm at any point today. Tomorrow, clouds and 95, 97 for Sunday. We'll have a mix of clouds and sun expected that day, and maybe a late afternoon thunderstorm as well. Right now, though, it's warming up. It is 78.
There's only one way to close out the early game third and long hour goes deep series this week where we're talking about the drought killers. This is the fun part. The elation, right? I think almost any fan that has cheered for a team that has been bad or has had a long title drought does it all for the feeling of elation that you get, the joy you feel when your team finally breaks through and does it. And my only real question here is, does it make all that suffering and all of the heartbreak you experience on the way there, make it more joyful once you finally break through and win it? For Carolina fans, it could have been, that first College World Series win when you see the ball leave Whit Merrifield's bat and the game-winning run come home to win a national title. Was all the heartbreak previously, the super regional loss to Louisiana Lafayette in 2000 and all, the College World Series final loss to Texas a year before they changed the format to where it's a best 2 of 3 series. Does it all make it worth it once you actually have that championship feeling?
Obviously, because cliche, the joy is in the journey, man. That's the only part of all of this as to why when you look and you see all of those celebrities who have infinite supply of money at the top of their fields, but this is the thing that brings them actual joy.
Oh, money can't buy them that joy. It can buy them the ticket to get to that game, but you saw the joy in Ben Stiller's face when the Knicks won the other night. Larry David cracked a smile. How many times do you see that guy smile ever? That man was smiling.
Larry David was actually invested in, I see him standing up, living and dying with every single possession. A man who notoriously has no feelings towards anything.
The notorious, famously curmudgeon.
100%.
But the funniest thing, I don't know if you saw when Josh Hart missed that layup late in the game. He was standing up and he kind of falls a little bit.
Not putting on.
And not putting on. No, that is exactly how he was feeling.
Yeah, I think there is a level of, you have to go through it to really understand or to really appreciate it, to really enjoy the gravitas of this type of moment. That's why, man, if this thing ever happened here, oh my gosh. On the football side, we've had it happen on other sports, but in football, if it ever happened here, it would be amazing.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. Because again, money can't buy you that feeling. It can't. There is to me, there is almost no greater joy in, as a sports fan than seeing your team win a championship. In life in general. I mean, sometimes I say it jokingly that people think I'm joking. I'm not kidding, Preston Thorne. The night the Saints won the Super Bowl was the greatest night of my life.
I get it.
Number one. I was 14 years old, and I was happiness might have peaked in that moment.
I get it. And I'm here to tell you, man, there's going to be some other milestones that you hit in your life, and a lot of people say they're supposed to be awesome. I don't know if they reach that moment. I don't know if they reach that height.
I don't know if it reaches that emotional peak of watching Tracy Porter run down the sidelines after picking off Peyton Manning to seal the deal. I don't know if it does. I don't know. But to me, there's just, again, money can't buy that. And we were all looking for things in life for the things that money can't buy. For Jen Jensen, too. As a Chicago Cubs fan, they had the most notorious streak, maybe the most infamous streak in all of sports in terms of not winning a title. I think you would trade years of those failures to be able to, get that every season, or you wouldn't trade the years of those failures, just to get to experience that moment on a night in November of 2016.
Well, you heard it a lot with the Cubs. You heard these conversations of like, man, I used to watch the Cubs with my grandfather, or me and my dad used to watch the Cubs, and he's no longer with us anymore. My aunt was a huge Cubs fan or something like that. And you're starting to see those types of videos with the Knicks, right? You're starting to see these people who were like, you know, I've been a New Yorker for 50 years, and this is a difficult city to live in, but the one thing I always had was the Knicks, and now finally I'm an old man, and I'm like, you starting to see these videos, and it's like, oh yeah, those are the things that connect us as human beings. And this is, despite all of it, all the things that we complain about, oh, it's too much money, they don't care anymore, load management, man, there's still the human connection of watching a team that represents the place where it's the place where you're from, the place where you live, the place where your people are from. There's so many layers of connections. That's why we're seeing this stuff with the World Cup, right? Mm-hmm. It's just all fandom. It's all part of being a fan, because I think Elijah, we all got other stuff that we have to worry about that's real life.
Like real important stuff.
But this is the one place where you can go to let those things go and connect with other human beings and be part of a ride that's fun and hopefully get to have a payoff at the end.
Which is why I don't feel bad for Boston sports fans when they lose in the playoffs. If you're my age, right, and you're from Boston, you've experienced so many different championship parades. Like your favorite football team will have won, 6 Super Bowls. Your favorite basketball team has won 2 NBA titles. Multiple Stanley Cup titles for your hockey team, multiple World Series championships for your baseball team. It's reached a level of being spoiled that you cannot replicate. So they lose in the playoffs. I'm like, fine, like you're spoiled enough already. Or if you're a Vegas pro sports fan, yeah, it's really cool to get a team, but their hockey team has been in the Stanley Cup Finals 3 times since they became a thing less than a decade ago.
It's funny you say that, because as you're saying that, I'm thinking about this about the school up the road. Because there's a whole generation of fans who are like, 9 games. We're only going to win 10 games and go to the CFP again. Oh, we're underachieving. But there's another generation. I know several Clemson fans who are like, I'm good.
I've lived through a lot worse. I'm good.
I can live forever because that happened twice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the line of demarcation between fandom, because there's a level of, say, Boston fans who were like, man, you weren't there for the times when we were Bill Buckner and all that. They start going through all those things. But the next generation is like, this is what they expect.
Right, because it's all they've known.
It's all they've known. FAMS, women's basketball around here, there will be a day when it was not like this.
Enjoy it while you have it.
Enjoy it while you have it.
Where you're going to the championship game. Even if you lose the championship game, you're still going, and you're still going to Final Fours and all of that. But that's my favorite thing about watching these type of droughts, end. I've never been a New York Knicks fan in my life, right? At no point have I ever cheered for the Knicks. If anything, I oftentimes like to cheer against them because it's really funny when they're bad. But to see a lot of the videos that I've seen of people that aren't celebrities, like just normal fans watching games in the street. Somebody had a projector outside their apartment, projecting the game onto a very large brick building, and there were hundreds of people out there watching it with them. And when the OG Anunoby tip-in happened, they're all going nuts. Those people don't know each other, but they're connected by cheering for that team, and they've not experienced winning that type of title. To me, it is really cool. My favorite part about this entire thing is seeing, a fan base that has not, for that team and that franchise, reached these heights since before a majority of them were born. Lisa Salter said at the beginning of the broadcast that 69% of New York City was not born the last time the New York Knicks won a championship.
Yeah, and that is and the connective ties that tie all of those things together, those generations, those blocks, those neighborhoods. And I always joke about it, but there's a special feeling here after we broke the streak of, I don't know, was it 8 times that we lost to the school up the road? Just being able to walk into Publix wearing a Gamecock thing and see another Gamecock and just
give them a nod.
Just a nod. They're saying that's happening all over New York now. Just people just, like, New Yorkers are being nice to each other.
Whoever thought that was going to be a thing? Ever.
They say it's happening, and it's all because they've all been there for the journey, and hopefully there'll be a payoff.
Yeah. Now, if they lose it.
We have to revert back to New York status.
Oh, it'll revert back to New York status, all right, if they end up losing it. I would not want to be in that town if they end up blowing a 3-1 series.
You have to win this for a matter of city security. You have to win this.
The people pulling for the Knicks the most, NYPD. They do not want to clock in for work if they end up blowing that series. That would not be a winner for that town. But we'll give you our winners for today's show, brought to you by the Golden Spur, coming up next.
winners.
Fill that obligation. Give you our winners of the day show. Brought to you by the Golden Spur. And the first thing that I want to give a shout out to, because my first winner, Knicks. There's New York Knicks, one game away from winning an NBA championship. They can seal the deal on Saturday. But also Nick Harvey for coming in and hanging out for 2 days.
Appreciate Nick. Nick did a great job. Nick did a great job. On that note, we'll give a shout out to Kale, a Canes fan who may be ready to celebrate something.
Celebrating their drought. He's got their drought killers.
So there may be something there. So shout out to those Sioux fellas for filling in for us this week.
I know Nick was trying to go up to Raleigh for the.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know if he was able to make it or not.
Okay.
For his sake, I hope so. That would have been really cool.
That would have been a cool game to be. That would have been a cool.
They had a watch party at like Carter Finley Stadium where NC State plays football, and it was a raucous environment.
Good for them.
That looks fun.
Good for them.
Yeah.
And it's not. And here's the thing. I am not one of these. I think it is totally okay. Winner, bandwagon fans. If you are geographically located close to the squad that's having a moment, it's okay. Because there's chances are that you either know somebody, family, co-worker, or somebody. And so if the team that is located close to you is having a moment, jump on the bandwagon. I'm totally all right with that.
Yeah, I'm not a Jacksonville Jaguars fan by any means, Preston Thorne. My younger brother is a lifelong Jags fan. The origin story of that is hilarious. But he's the only Jags fan that I know. I'm indifferent on the Jags, whatever. But when they made the playoffs this year, that poor dude has been suffering through Jags fandom his entire life. Yeah, I was absolutely pulling for the Jags against the Bills. I was an honorary Jags fan because I wanted him to see his favorite team make a push to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, if there's somebody in your life that cheers for something and it's like, and this would be really good for everybody, I'm 100% on board with jumping on the bandwagon. Now, if you jump on the bandwagon of a team just because they're winning, I don't like that.
Yeah.
But locally, geographic, or somebody you know, totally cool with that.
Yeah, because it's the sports fan rite of passage is making a decision at a very young age about who your favorite team is going to be and living with that decision for the rest of your life, no take-backsies. You make that decision and you live with it. That's the earliest commitment you will ever make in your life is to that team.
And like many things in your life, you don't have a choice. That's a lot of things about these elations, about these drought seams. Some of us weren't born into some of these fandoms. You didn't get a choice. It was thrust upon you. You had to be a Cubs fan. It wasn't. You think if somebody could have chose to be a Knicks fan, they would have been a Knicks fan for these last 53 years? There's no reason.
No. Jen, let me rephrase this. Was your Cubs fandom a choice?
Not really. There was a time where I was young and I kind of wavered just a little bit for another team, not in the area. And it was okay, but I kind of knew I needed to come back.
You had to come home at some point.
Had to come home.
A wayward child.
Yes.
Drifts and sees the world, but eventually you come home.
It didn't last long.
What was the team that caught Jen Jensen's eye? What was Jen Jensen's team crush Tuesday?
Seriously, I was like 9, and it was the Padres.
Oh, that's kind of sick. I do like it. The uniforms are sick. I don't blame you.
Cool. And they actually, my dad got me a hat and was like, if you're in, you're in. And but
support. I'll support it if I have to.
I know, right? It was kind of cool, but I did come back.
Jen ultimately came back home.
That's right.
I did.
But the Padres, shout out to the Padres winners.
Still balling.
Yep.
Those jerseys.
Got something good that they had to just. Who would have thought going back to Brown would be a better choice for them, right? Because Brown's not great, but it works for them.
Absolutely not. Not many organizations pull off Brown. UPS and the San Diego Padres. That's it. Brown is so unappealing on most jerseys that the team called the Cleveland Browns don't even have brown as their primary color.
They don't.
They wear orange helmets because brown is that ugly of a color. But the Padres pull it off. UPS pulls it off. Shout out. Other winners of today's show, Unity. Because I did watch a video in one of the commercial breaks of South Korean fans being denied the bottle of tequila they tried to take into the stadium in Mexico for their World Cup game against Czechia/Czech Republic, depending how formal you want to get. And they were told they couldn't bring it in. Don't know what their rules are in South Korea. So they're all trying to kill this bottle of tequila, and they invite a bunch of Mexico soccer fans over there to kill the bottle with them. And I'm like, you know what? That is unity. That's what the World Cup is about right there. That is how you unite nations.
Just take a bottle of 1800 to the head. A tradition unlike any other. Whom amongst us
has not had to kill a bottle of tequila before getting into the stadium, because you can't take that sucker in there with you.
And they do that. Hey, South Korea fans, you can't do that in South Korea either. You know that.
Oh, you know that. What kind of rules do you think they have over there?
They're just like, hey, we're on vacation, man. We're going to try something crazy.
And it's a big bottle. I don't know if you thought you were sneaking that thing in. That was like a handle, dog. Like, you're not sneaking that in.
Good on them, though.
Can't waistband that.
Good on them. And they got the dub yesterday, right?
They did. They beat Czechia.
Informal.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, if you're maybe a little tad confused, there's no geopolitical conflicts, nothing, no overthrows of government. Czechia is just the cool name that they go by when they don't want to be called Czech Republic. They're formerly Czech Republic. When they want to put their cool guy shades on, they become Czechia.
Their government name is the Czech Republic. You can just call me Czechia.
Just call me Czechia for short. So,
hey, Czech Republic's my father. I'm just Czechia.
Don't be confused like I was.
I was genuinely confused. I just assumed something sinister might have happened.
Easy to assume.
That part of the world, yeah, very easy to assume. Those are our winners for today's show, brought to you by the Golden Spur. Tyler Head, Jack Veltri, they're always winners. And they're next. Make sure to tune in at 12:30. Scott Hamilton interviews Jeremiah Donati.